30-year-old Sama Baker disappeared under mysterious circumstances in January 2019. Her disappearance was reported by her family, who couldn't contact her. Sama did not answer any calls or messages, which was unusual for her. After launching the investigation, the police appealed to the public for help. Considering the disappearance of Sama Baker suspicious, the authorities created a special team with the assistance of detectives from the homicide squad. Sama's family discovered the frightening truth only 4.5 years later. So today we'll discuss the events that occurred in Australia. In 2019, Sama lived in Parramatta, a major suburb of Sydney. Her mother, who spoke to Sama on the phone daily, called her at 5 p.m. on January 3rd, when her daughter was on her way to St. Michael's Catholic Church in Belfield for a night service. It's believed she left the church at 7 p.m. and went on to have drinks in Chinatown and other parts of Sydney before having dinner in the seaside suburb of Coogee. At about 1:30 a.m., she returned home to her apartment on Early Street. Her parents have not heard from her or seen her since then. After her family contacted the police, the investigators started learning all the circumstances of Sama's disappearance. They talked to her parents and sister, trying to figure out if she could have gone somewhere without telling them. They also wanted to know if this had happened before and if she had any enemies. Sama's family did not believe she could have gone into hiding of her own free will. They also didn't know anyone who would want to harm her. However, her family would later find out that Sama was hiding something from them and that she had problems with one particular person. Trying to find out where and with whom Sama was on the evening she disappeared, the investigators learned that she had dinner with a man with whom she had recently started a romantic relationship. After that, this man drove her home and left, as he claimed. The police searched Sama's apartment but found nothing suspicious there. The investigators asked her neighbors if they saw or heard something strange that night, but no one saw or heard anything unusual. Sama had 2 phones, and they were both missing. The police requested a report on the activity of Sama's mobile phones, studied her social networks, and looked for CCTV footage that could help them solve the case. But none of this gave immediate results. 2 months later, Sama's whereabouts were still a mystery. But Sama's family did not lose hope and believed she would return home safe and sound. Our family is devastated that we still have not seen or heard from our beloved Sama, the Baker family said in a statement released by the police. Sama is a very outgoing, vivacious, and kind-hearted person and could make friends with everyone she met. Every day without our much-loved sister and daughter is filled with unimaginable grief. We want to find her and bring her home, back where she belongs. Please, if you know where she is, we are begging you to call police. On March 4th, 2019, the detectives from Strike Force Butcher, a team of officers from the New South Wales Homicide Squad and Parramatta Police investigating Sama's disappearance, released new footage of her last known movements. The CCTV footage showed Sama Baker riding in an elevator inside the Vibe Hotel in North Sydney 2 days before she went missing. In the footage taken on Wednesday, January 2nd, she was captured on 2 separate occasions, and it was unclear how far apart the trips were. In the first recording, she was wearing a strappy peach-colored dress and orange sandals. In the second, she was dressed in a black sleeveless top with white spots and denim shorts. The video showed her exiting and entering the elevator with what appeared to be the same man, whose face was blurred. In addition to the CCTV footage, the police also made a short statement. Parramatta Police Superintendent Julie Boone reported that Sama Baker's social media account was mysteriously updated after her disappearance. Despite that, the investigators believed there was a chance she may have met with foul play. Superintendent Boone's comments raised the possibility someone other than Sama had access to her Facebook account. Sama Baker's profile photo on one of her Facebook accounts was reportedly updated in the days after she was last seen. Yet, it was unclear if the change was made by her or another person. According to the police statement, they were almost sure Sama couldn't just leave without telling anyone about it. It's been an agonizing 2 months for Sama's family, as it is a long time to not see or hear from her. It's very unusual for her not to contact her family for such a long period of time, and there were no known plans of her to leave her home or Sydney, Superintendent Boone said in a statement. Sama was described as being of Mediterranean or Middle Eastern appearance, approximately 5 feet and 3 inches tall, of medium build, with long dark hair. On March 7, 2019, 3 days after the CCTV footage taken in the elevator was released, the police seized items from a rest stop south of Goulburn, where they believed Sama was hours after she disappeared from her home in Sydney's west. If we look at the map, we can see that Goulburn is about 120 miles from Early Street, where she lived. At the press conference, Detective Chief Inspector Barry Vincent revealed that some items had been seized from the French VC rest stop on the Hume Highway. However, he did not go into detail about the nature of the items found. He also appealed to anyone who had passed through the rest stop between 9 p.m. and midnight on Friday, January 4th, to contact Crime Stoppers. "We believe she was in that area between those times," Inspector Vincent said. "Some people may have been returning from holidays at the time, or indeed heading off for the Christmas holidays, and may have passed through that area. If they have any information or perhaps dashcam footage that may be of assistance, we'd certainly like to hear from them. Obviously, these rest stop areas can be quite busy at times, and likewise they can sometimes be very quiet, very isolated areas." Inspector Vincent stressed that the police could not confirm whether the items seized were linked to Sama Baker's disappearance before conducting a forensic examination. When asked if the police believed Sama was still alive, Inspector Vincent said there may well have been foul play, but the authorities were keen to reunite Sama with her family. "She's been missing for just over 2 months now, and her family are obviously quite distraught," he said. Superintendent Julie Boone said they had received great community support following their appeal, but were still looking for people who could provide details of Sama Baker's movements in early January. "We believe there are people out there who may know where Sama is, but are fearful or reluctant to come forward. To them, I say, please put yourselves in the shoes of the Baker family. They want to find their beloved daughter and sister and bring her home." On March 8, 2019, the police arrested Sama's ex-boyfriend, 32-year-old James Hashem. Although she was still missing, the police believed that James had taken her life and then hid her body. It was with him that the surveillance cameras captured Sama riding the elevator at the Vibe Hotel. Sama and James broke up a few months before her disappearance, but judging by the CCTV footage, they met periodically. At this stage, police are just looking at one person, but investigations are continuing, the police statement said. Now let's discuss based on what evidence the police arrested James. A police statement of facts alleged that when the investigators spoke with James, he told them the last time he saw Sama, she was watching a Netflix series called You. You is about a stalker who uses the social media accounts of a murder victim to give the appearance they are alive. But the police examined her computer and alleged she never watched the show and was instead watching Gilmore Girls. The police believed that after killing Sama, James put her body in the trunk of his car and drove to his family's house at Hurstville Grove at about 7 a.m. on January 4th. He then went to Hurstville Westfield and parked his vehicle at about 9 a.m. It will also be alleged James then went to the nearby job recruitment agency while Sama Baker's body remained in the car. James left Hurstville Westfield at about 3 p.m. and returned home allegedly with cleaning products he had bought. The police believe James drove to a rural area later that night with garbage bags in the car and disposed of her body. Despite the alleged circumstantial evidence against him, the police didn't know how or why he killed Sama Baker or where her body was. The police established that James got rid of the mat in the trunk of the car he used to transport Sama's body. The reports say it was his mother's car. While searching his bedroom, the investigators found some items with dried, dark red spots on them. The analysis showed those dark red spots were dried blood. Further examination revealed that it was Sama Baker's blood. Sama Baker's family never met her on-again, off-again boyfriend, James Hashem. She never told them that he hit her, abused her, and stalked her. They knew nothing of how scared and desperate she felt until after he killed her. Baker met James when they worked together at an internet advertising company in 2015. The abuse began soon after. In October of that year, she told a friend he had hit her. Over text, James put on a show of remorse. "I will not blame the alcohol you had. I should know better," he said. "It's like someone flicked a switch in my head, and I went from so happy and calm to miserable and angry," he added. But the violence continued. In 2017, Sama told Gold Coast police her boyfriend had attacked and tried to choke her. "He tried to kill me. This is not the first time, but today was really bad," Sama stated. She left before the police arrived.
Well, I was just attacked by my boyfriend in the room.
Do you need the ambulance at all?
No, that's fine. I just want to report it. It was really bad.
All right, no.
He tried to kill me.
The following month, she reported being kicked in the gut. Again, she did not want to press the matter further. Sama tried to end the relationship many times but couldn't. James encouraged financial dependence by lending her money and paying for her food, phone, and holidays. "I hate him," she wrote in a notebook in late 2017, "and I hate myself even more for asking for his help." By late 2018, Sama Baker appeared to have cut off contact. She'd met someone else. But in early December, James was lurking again. Sama told a friend he had come to her house and made her feel like she was worth nothing. She resisted James's attempts to spend New Year's Eve with her, but he waited, uninvited, at Parramatta Westfield while she had her hair done for a Luna Park party and dropped her home. She contacted James again in early January, needing money for rent. He wanted to meet up. She didn't, but she relented, and he transferred $350 into her account. The police released CCTV of that meeting during their investigation. Sama spent the evening of January 3, 2019, with the man she'd been seeing. They went to Coogee, had a drink overlooking the beach, and then ate a late meal in Chinatown. They kissed as the man dropped Sama off at her Parramatta apartment. She didn't know James was hiding in the darkness watching them, consumed with jealousy and fury. He called her phone repeatedly from his car. Sama told him she didn't love him anymore. He called yet again, saying his parents had been involved in a car accident. It was a lie, which the prosecutors argued was made up to compel her to see him. She believed him. They met outside her unit in the early hours of January 4th. By 5:10 a.m., she was dead. James kept her body in his car trunk for a day while he attended a training center in Hurstville, then went shopping. He bought garbage bags, heavy-duty gloves, and a shovel. James and Sama had known each other for many years. According to the Crown, they had a periodic, intimate relationship. The prosecutor alleged James was the last person to see her alive, and the only rational explanation was that she was dead, and he was responsible for her death. So, during the trial, the jury heard that James was spying on Sama. Surveillance cameras captured him near the apartment complex where she lived. He lured Sama outside, saying that his parents had been in a car accident. But what happened next was unclear because James denied his guilt, and Sama's body had not yet been found. He then went to Bunnings and bought various items, including a double sheet, gloves, cleaning products, and a digging trowel, before driving to isolated areas in rural New South Wales. During the more than 2-month-long trial, the court heard James drove to McDonald's and went for a job interview while Sama Baker's body was in the trunk of his car. Later, pings from his phone were received over the course of more than 3 hours in Breadalbane, near Goulburn, where the police suspected he dumped Sama's body. He knew Sama was dead, but still sent text messages to her phone, trying to create an alibi for himself. One of the messages said, "You must be with your boyfriend, and you can't text. All good." Another read, "Last night was so good, slept like a baby." Defense lawyers tried to commute Hashem's sentence, saying childhood abuse he suffered at the hands of his father caused PTSD and other emotional harm. James's brother Joseph described how he and his younger brother would be whipped on the back and arm with tree branches by their father, who was a taxi driver and a problem gambler. "I hate eggplant, and I was forced to eat it, and if I didn't eat it, I would get a beating," Hashem told defense counsel Daniel McMahon. "We had a tree in the backyard. That was the go-to, I'd say, arsenal where he'd pull down thin branches and shave off the leaves, and there'd be these little pricks." Whipped with these branches from the age of 7, Hashem said he eventually poisoned the tree with bleach and detergent from his mother's laundry. After the tree died, his father resorted to using his belt, the court heard. Under cross-examination, prosecutor Fiona Gray said that in prior affidavits, Hashem had not said anything about the alleged abuse. He had been silent about the beatings, failing to make complaints to his mother, other family members, or the police until when his brother was due to be sentenced. The offending involves fatal violence towards a female partner, arising out of his jealousy and anger because of her being with another man, Justice Wright said. Despite hearing evidence of childhood trauma and abuse suffered by James during sentencing hearings, Justice Wright said they were not significant enough to justify the conclusion that his moral culpability is reduced. The police did not know how she died. Her neighbors heard nothing. Wright surmised James killed her in his car, quietly enough to escape attention. His desperate attempts to hold on to her with money, favors, and fear had failed. The offender could not accept Ms. Baker's statement that she did not love him anymore, nor could he accept that she might choose another potential intimate partner, Justice Wright said. James continued to insist on his innocence and came up with a theory that Sama had killed herself. However, the jury did not believe him and found him guilty of taking the life of Sama Baker. In May 2023, the court sentenced James Hashem to 24 years in prison, with the right to apply for parole after 18 years. He will be eligible for parole in March 2037, but this is not the end of the story. On July 30th, 2023, the New South Wales Police reported that 2 days earlier, they had been contacted by a woman who found the remains in grassland off the Hume Highway. Human remains have been discovered in Goulburn in southern New South Wales, the police have confirmed. In a statement, they said a further search of the area had led to more remains being located. The found remains were sent for forensic examination to establish the identity of the victim. A month later, on August 31st, 2023, the police made a statement saying, "The Hume Police Department detectives worked closely with the State Crime Command's Homicide Squad to determine the identity of the remains. Following the examination and analysis by New South Wales Health Pathology, the remains have been confirmed as belonging to 30-year-old Sama Baker." The Baker family released a statement saying the discovery of Sama's body has offered them a small amount of comfort after she was taken from them in the cruelest way. On Friday, January 2019, Sama was taken away from us in the cruelest way. In the years that followed, our grief has been compounded by the fact that we have not been able to have a funeral or lay her to rest. We never got to say goodbye to her or tell her we loved her for the last time. The news of her remains being discovered 4.5 years later isn't a neat resolution, but it does offer a small measure of what we've been longing for all this time. Each development in the case feels like a reopening of our barely healed wounds, reminding us of the harsh reality of our loss. Even though what remains of Sama has been found, it feels like losing her all over again. Share your opinion in the comments, and thank you for watching this video to the end.